All right, so why don't we start with some college basketball? Let me ask you something. Is it me? Is it me, or does it feel like there's a certain buzz coming from a certain university in Queens that we haven't felt in, I don't know, years?
They've been doing this for years.
Years. In fact, if we're being honest and we're being fair, decades. That buzz. But that'll happen when you hire one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time. And yes, I said it, of all time. I touched on it in the final moment of the program yesterday, but I want to talk some more about it right now. I'm talking about St. John's getting their guy. St. John's hiring Rick Pitino. I mean, for real. No punchline. I know you clones will have lots of punchlines, which I will address a little bit later on. However, what I'm saying is I cannot get enough of this. I can't get enough of this guy. I can't get enough of a dude who is now 70 and returning to the big stage. 70 and returning to the big leagues of college basketball. The big leagues of college basketball on a New York bleeping stage. One close to where he started that journey about 40 years back. Oh, about 3 hours northeast up the interstate at Providence. This dude is 70. I love it. I love him. Honestly, I do. I love the story. I love the hire. I think the hire is a home run. And I said that too. Even at age 70. That's how rare that dude is. That's how different that dude is. And before some of you, and by some of you, I mean all of you, start tweeting about his past, just know I know. You're not telling me anything I don't already know. I'm not ignoring his past mistakes, transgressions. I'm not condoning it, nor am I acting like it didn't happen. These things are as much a part of his legacy as the dubs and the titles, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve this shot. He does. He does, and it says here that it's a hell of a hire by St. John's. I mean, I love the hire. The dude can still coach. Hell, he's always been able to coach. Like I said, he's on my short list as one of the greatest coaches ever. On any level, and certainly one of the greatest college coaches ever. I mean, the resume on this guy is insane. And he's proven it yet again. I'm not talking about what he did back in the 90s. I'm not talking about what he did in the mid-2000s. Over the last 3 years, he's led Iona to the NCAA tournament twice. Even at 70, the guy's lost almost no velo at all. Nothing off his fastball, and he's made it clear he wants to be in the game for at least another 10 years. Hell, he just signed a 6-year deal with St. John's. A 70-year-old dude who just signed a 6-year deal with a Big East program. Pretty amazing. Now, you all know I live that reinvention lifestyle. You all know that there's nothing more intriguing to me right now than a guy or a person who knows how to continually reinvent themselves. That's this guy. Reinvent, recharge, continue to attack the day with that drive that he's already had, that same passion. I mean, this dude is still hungry. And, of course, if we know this about Pitino, he is the absolute master in rebuilding programs and big programs, historic programs like Kentucky, Louisville. And now he's got an opportunity. Hell, he's got the mandate to do the same thing at St. John's. Now, I know the entire city is pumped, because you desperately want to be relevant in that sport once again. Something you have not been this century, at least not in college basketball. You know that this is the guy that can get you there. And I mean that. St. John's has not been relevant this century. They haven't won an NCAA tournament game since 2000. 2000. That was the year after Ron was still Ron. That was the year after Ron departed for the NBA and Mike Jarvis had Eric Barkley running point. I mean, it's been that long since the Red Storm has advanced to the round of 32. And how long ago was that? That round of 32 loss came against a first-year head coach at Gonzaga by the name of Mark Few. A first-year head coach. That's how long ago that was. Hell, they've been to one Sweet 16 since Lou Carnesecca left in 92. One tournament in the past 8 years. That's how long. And I got to say, essentially, there's no doubt in my mind that this great turnaround artist will not work his magic once again at St. John's. He will. The dude's already starting to speak it into existence. He told the New York Post, quote, "I want to make it a top 20 program. I want to go back to Louis days when they were a perennial power, not only in the Big East, but the entire country. I wouldn't even consider taking it if I didn't think that was a distinct possibility." I'm telling you, man, this dude, this is not like his walk-off. This is not like the last paycheck. I mean, this dude wants it badly. He wants to be relevant. I mean, he is, but he wants to be competing on the big stage once again. I mean, dude practically makes 70 seem like the new 40. He still has that maniacal drive. He still has that fantastic energy. He still has that grit, that grind, that work ethic, that passion. And he's got old man toughness. Except he doesn't look or act that old. Not like an old man anyway. And if it's anything like any of his previous rebuilds, shouldn't take that long. Not a question of if, but a matter of when. He gives the program credibility. Credibility that it has not had in a long, long time. And again, with Pitino, not only can he coach, not only can he X and O with anybody, he's always been able to recruit. He still can. And now he's got the portal at his disposal as well. So what I'm saying is, watch the hell out. Look the hell out. The Big East is already loaded, and it just got a whole hell of a lot better because the Red Storm is coming. I know it. All of Queens knows it. And before you know it, Rick will have these pups no longer pissing on the porch. I love the story. Now, here's the part of the story that I do not love. What I don't love is what Rick Pitino means to a lot of you clones. Like I said already, I'm not condoning a lot of these previous choices. I've not forgotten about it. Believe me, he's taken plenty on this program and elsewhere. But I see a 70-year-old guy that has reinvented himself, that still wants it, that's still really effective. I see a basketball Hall of Famer, an imperfect guy to be sure, but who amongst us is perfect? I'm not saying any of what he did was all right back in the day. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I see a basketball Hall of Famer, flawed, but a basketball Hall of Famer. But what many of you see and think about exclusively is a table at an Italian restaurant. So, rather than let you turn this into 3 hours of that, I'm just going to play Mark in Hollywood, and this is going to cover it for you. All right? Here you go.
But, Les, my man, you didn't even talk about Rick Pitino's hair. I mean, that guy looks like he ripped one of Kellen Winslow's Vaseline tubs and dumped it into that slick. Well, Rick, you don't want to do that because you'll end up like Cameron Diaz in Something About Mary. You know, Jim, as a sidebar, back in Philly when we did that to our girls, we call that a But, I'm just wondering if this translucent slime bag decided to play it safe or if he rolled up on that diner counter bareback. Were Pitino using angel hair pasta as a contrast?
That's not a good call. No. You don't like that call.
You good?
Not a very good
You clones good? Can we move on? And by move on, morons, I mean I don't need another 1,000 rigatoni as condom tweets. And not one more Tortorelli Trojan email. You've done it for years. This is not a green light for you to step up your efforts. Take it someplace else.